how do you get your driver's license back in Washington State? If you're watching this video, you may have a suspended license or an invalid license, or you may just not know what the status of your license is, or maybe you're just interested in this area of the law. If any of that applies to you, this is the video for you. My name is Fryrear, and I'm a defense attorney in Lynnwood, Washington. My law firm has been helping people charged with crimes for more than 20 years and helping people with their licensing questions, and it can be confusing. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 things. Number 1, how do you determine what the status of your driver's license even is? Number 2, what are some reasons that you might be suspended, because it can be confusing? And finally, number 3, and most importantly, what do you do to get your license back? How do you go about it? So I put out these videos for educational purposes to help inform the public. There's not a lot out there. And so if you find this video, please like, please subscribe. It helps get our message out there. So jumping right into it. Number 1, how do you determine what the status of your driver's license is? Well, nowadays that's easier than it used to be. You can go online to the Washington State Department of Licensing website, www.dol.wa.gov. And there is a section on that homepage that talks about driver's licenses, and then you can check the status of a license. And once you put in your driver's license number in your information, it'll show you what the status is. Is it suspended in the 3rd degree, which means you're eligible to get your license back just by doing some things? Or is it suspended in the 2nd degree or 1st degree? And then that means you're not quite eligible yet to get your license back. Is it expired? Then you just need to do some easier things to renew it. It'll tell you what the status of your license is online. So that's what you need to do. Number 2, what are some common reasons you might have an invalid or suspended license? Because oftentimes we don't get a notice from the Department of Licensing. So I would say the most common reason is not responding to a traffic ticket. Let's say you just got a regular traffic ticket, a speeding ticket, a failure to stop, you're in an accident and got a speeding too fast for conditions ticket. If you don't respond to that traffic ticket within 14 days, you just ignore it, you forget about it, then the court is going to send the Department of Licensing a notice you didn't respond. Department of Licensing will send you a notice saying, hey, we're going to give you so long to clear up this failure to respond, and if you don't, we're going to suspend your license. And again, sometimes our license isn't updated with the Department of Licensing. We move around, so we don't get that notice. And you might learn we're suspended by getting pulled over by a police officer. So that's one of the most common ways we end up suspended. Another way is we did deal with the ticket and we just didn't pay it. You know, we got behind on paying the ticket. We forgot to. That can also put us in a suspended status. I think probably the next most common way is being suspended based upon a criminal matter. Either you've got a DUI conviction that suspended you, a reckless driving or a hit and run attendant suspension that can suspend you, or forgetting to go to court for a criminal traffic matter. If you get a warrant put out for your arrest on a criminal traffic matter, they're also going to suspend your license. So those are some of the most common reasons that you can end up with a suspended license. And there's different ways, which I'm going to cover here in this next section, about how you deal with it. So thanks for watching here. Closer to the end, I'm going to go into step number 3. What do you do about it? So if you're in that first situation where you have an unpaid ticket or you fail to respond to the ticket, it's a little bit easier to deal with. You're going to need to determine which court was the ticket out of. And the best way to figure out which court the ticket was out of that you need to deal with, hey, I got a speeding ticket in Lynnwood. Is it in the Lynnwood Municipal Court or the South District Court? You're not going to know that off the top of your head probably. So you can also get on that Department of Licensing website, www.dol.wa.gov, and you can access, they might make you pay a few dollars to purchase your driving history, and it'll show you the suspension actions, okay? If you're not sure how to read it, you can get a hold of an attorney. We do have people send their driving records to us, and we can give them a little advice about where they need to call, but it's going to show all of the suspensions against your license. And for each one of those suspensions, you're going to want to contact the court that the ticket was filed into by the law enforcement officer and say, hey, what do I need to do to clear this hold against my license? They might call it a failure to respond, or FTA, failure to appear. And usually what you're going to have to do is you might have to pay the ticket through a collections company. You could file something with the court asking them to recall the FTA and let you pay it directly to the court. And sometimes you can even ask to set up a payment plan. The bottom line is, until we take care of the ticket, we're going to stay in a suspended status. And again, this applies for both failing to pay the ticket and failing to respond to the ticket. So that's the best way to do it there. If you have a suspension from a criminal matter, let's say it's because you have a warrant for your arrest. Well, you forgot to respond to the DUI, you forgot your court date for the reckless driving. There it's easier. Once you clear the warrant, it will clear your suspension. When I say clear your suspension, it's not instantaneous. You always want to check your driving record because it takes a little bit of time for the court to communicate to the Department of Licensing that you either cleared your warrant in this case, or in the earlier case, cleared your ticket, basically adjudicated the ticket. So check your status before you drive, but clearing up the warrant, and that's usually getting on a warrant quash calendar, things like that, will clear up your suspension in most cases. Now, if you have a suspension from a conviction of a DUI or a reckless driving, to get your license totally back to normal, you may need to wait out the suspension. If you have a 90-day suspension, it ends in 90 days on a DUI. So you have to do certain things to get back your license. I won't cover that here, but it's been covered in other videos we have, or you can also look on the Department of Licensing website. One extra thing to throw in, if you are waiting out a criminal suspension, let's say it's a longer one, a 1-year suspension, there may be other options available to you so you can drive. There's things called an ignition interlock license. There's work restricted licenses. And again, go on the Department of Licensing website or contact an attorney, and they will try to guide you in the right direction, hopefully from their experience. So it's a lot. Speaking of experience, again, my name's Lance Fryrear. We own the law office of Lance Fryrear and have been doing this for more than 20 years. And so a lot of what we learned is just from dealing with clients and dealing with the Department of Licensing. It is difficult to handle. So the best advice is really stand up for yourself. If you clear a ticket, if you pay a ticket off with the collections company or the court, ask them, hey, how long is it going to take you to get that adjudication to Department of Licensing? That's the notice that I'm good now. Because again, just because you pay it, you're not good to drive until Department of Licensing says so. So the best advice is to really, stand up for yourself, be polite, but also, ask those questions. And if you have more questions, you can always give our office a call. Again, we've been doing this for 20 years. If we can help you, we will, and we'll be there for you. Thank you.